I glanced down at my bare ring finger, sighing. This is a disaster. I mutter, imagining the years stretching out ahead. Is this what you want for me, Russell? I shout. To the empty room, half joking but already picturing a future as the quintessential crazy cat lady, surrounded by way too many fur balls and takeout containers. Fast forward to girls' night at Sandra's place. Cozy, with wine flowing freely, low music setting the mood, and everyone comfortably sprawled across Sandra's plush sectional. I'm curled up in my favorite corner, holding my second glass of Merlot, while the conversation shifts from office gossip to the all too familiar relationship updates. So, how are things with Russell? Victoria asks, tucking her feet under her and shooting me a curious look. Set a date yet? I swirl the wine in my glass, watching the deep red glint in the light. Oh, you. No, it's fine. He's stable. The word slips out, and even I can hear how flat it sounds. Sandra raises an eyebrow, giving me a look that's part sympathy, part disbelief. Stable? That doesn't exactly sound thrilling. I lean forward, lowering my voice even though it's just us. Well, I say with a wry smile. He's not exactly Mr. Adventure, if you know what I mean. Nothing like Rick was. Sandra's eyes widen with intrigue. Rick, the personal trainer. God, that guy was something else. I grin. Memories flooding back. Remember when we got caught sneaking around the gym after hours? Everyone laughs and I shake my head. But Russell, let's just say the wildest he's ever suggested was leaving the bedroom light on. We all burst out, laughing, the wine amplifying the humor. And don't even get me started on the equipment differences, I add, rolling my eyes dramatically. Rick, well, those workout shorts left very little to the imagination. Russell S., let's just say, he's working with more of a compact model. More giggles break out. And it feels surprisingly good to let it all out, even if I know I'm probably oversharing. But that's what girls' night is for, right? So why'd you say yes when he proposed? Victoria asks, pouring herself more wine. I shrug, holding out my glass for a refill. He's a good guy. You know, stable job, owns his place, actually wants to settle down. And well, I'm not exactly getting any younger. I take another sip of wine, trying to sound more confident than I feel. Rick was a blast, but husband material? Not exactly. Sometimes you just have to be practical. So, you settled, Sandra says, giving me that knowing look. That digs a little too close to the truth. I wouldn't say settled, exactly. Even I can hear the waver in my voice. Okay, maybe a little, I admit, laughing it off, but that's what growing up is, right? Trading excitement for security. The conversation moves on to Victoria's latest Tinder disaster, but my mind lingers on what I've just said. I'm not unhappy with Russell. He's sweet, he's reliable, and he loves me. Sure, our relationship lacks some of the adventure I had before, and maybe the spark isn't what it used to be, but that's just normal, right? Everyone makes compromises. Just then, we hear a creak by the doorway. I turn, seeing Russell standing there, looking like he's just walked in on a car crash. My stomach drops. I remember he mentioned leaving his laptop charger here, but I had no idea he'd come by to pick it up tonight. He's staring right at me, and his expression says he heard everything. My hand froze on the doorknob as laughter drifted through the door. I stood there, stunned, listening, as Helen's voice carried on, sharing intimate details about our relationship with her friends. Each word felt like a punch, comparing me to her ex, laughing about our private life, and finally, the hardest blow of all, that she'd settled for me because I was the safe choice. I stepped back, feeling as if the floor had shifted Russell beneath me. The laptop charger was forgotten as I turned and walked outside, numb to the chill of the night air. My mind raced, replaying our relationship with a new, unsettling perspective, every memory now tinged with doubt. I found myself at the sports bar, down the street, where the bartender, Andy, gave me a nod as I took my usual spot. The usual, Russell? Make it a double. As I nursed the whiskey, too, thoughts kept circling, each one cutting deeper than the last. First, how brutally her words had broken my trust. And second, the gnawing question, if I was the safe choice for her, was she the right choice for me? She hadn't just joked about our sex life. She'd shared intimate, private details that should have stayed between us. This went beyond teasing. It was a betrayal of the kind of respect that I thought was the bedrock of any marriage. But it was the second thought that left me feeling hollow. I'd never doubted Helen's loyalty, never even considered that she might look elsewhere. But tonight, hearing how she talked about her ex, her longing for the thrill I apparently lacked, well, it was hard not to see a pattern. The math was straightforward. If she felt she'd settled and missed that spark, what would stop her from seeking it out if the opportunity came along? The rational part of my mind laid it out like a fact sheet. She confessed to her friends that stability had won over excitement. If she truly believed she'd made a compromise, what was to stop her from eventually craving the adventure she said she missed? I glanced down at my empty glass, barely registering that I'd finished it. Andy, the bartender, came over, looking concerned. Everything okay, Russell? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Just found out my fiancé thinks she settled for me, I said, and as I heard myself say it, the weight of it hit harder than I'd expected. I took a slow sip from the glass Andy poured, letting the sting of the whiskey match the sting of her words. You know what really gets me? I said, looking at Andy. She told them I was the safe, boring choice, the one she settled for because the exciting guys wouldn't commit. Like I'm just the default option. Andy shook his head, his expression sympathetic. That's rough, man. Question is, what are you going to do about it? And that was the $1 million question. She hadn't just broken my trust by sharing personal details. She'd given me a front row seat to her real feelings about our relationship. How do you come back from realizing you're someone's fall back plan that you're good enough, but not enough? My phone andied again. Another message from Helen. Where are you? Getting worried. Everything okay? Call me when you get this. I stared at the screen, my thoughts tangled. Was she genuinely worried about me, or just scared of losing her safety net? The guy who partners. I thought we wanted the same things. I set my glass down, meeting Andy's steady gaze. It's not even about the details, she shared. It's that she basically advertised her dissatisfaction to her friends, like hanging up a better offers welcome sign. Andy, who'd been quietly polishing glasses, nodded. I've been bartending for 20 years, seen plenty of relationships, and over someone settling usually goes one of two ways. They either leave when something better comes along or stay and make both people miserable. I nodded, letting his words sink in. This wasn't about insecurity or overreacting. It was about facts. Helen had just broadcast to her friends that she wasn't fully committed to me, that she'd compromised to settle down with the safe choice. It changed everything. I finished my drink and stood, feeling a newfound calm. This wasn't something I could just brush off or pretend I hadn't heard. We needed to talk, and I needed to be ready for her to try to brush it off as harmless girl talk, but that wasn't good enough anymore. Thanks, Andy, I said, leaving enough cash to cover my drinks and a generous tip. I turned toward the door, bracing myself for the conversation ahead. I freeze, my mind racing, but I try to play it cool. What did you hear? He just watches me, a calmness in his gaze. That's almost worse than anger. I heard you telling your friends that I'm your safe choice, that you missed the thrill you had with your ex, and more. Honestly, Helen, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The blood drains from my face. My mind scrambles for something to say. Some way to brush it off is just harmless. Fun. But his expression stops me short. He's not in the mood for excuses. Russell, it was just girl talk, I begin, forcing a weak smile. You know how it is. We exaggerate a little, just to make each other laugh. Girl talk? Exaggerate? He shakes his head, letting out a hollow laugh. You didn't just joke, Helen. You basically told them you settled for me. That I'm the safe option because the exciting guys weren't husband material. You laid out in detail exactly why I don't measure up to what you really want. I open my mouth to argue, but I know he's right. I was venting, but maybe it was more than that. His voice softens, but there's a hardness Russell it. If I'm the backup plan, Helen, I deserve to know, because I won't be in a relationship where I'm just someone's safe bet. I look down, a wave of shame hitting me. I never thought he'd actually hear me say those things, but now that he has, I realized the truth I've been trying to ignore. I wanted stability, yes, but was that at the expense of my happiness? And what about his? When I look up, his face is set, like he's already decided something. His expression doesn't soften. In fact, he looks more resolute than ever, a calm I'm not used to seeing in him. No, Helen, I really don't think I do know what you meant by it. I feel my frustration bubble up. I was venting, Russell, just blowing off steam. It doesn't mean I don't love you or want to be with you. Everyone needs a little outlet. Sometimes, but he shakes his head, his eyes unwavering. An outlet is one thing, but the things you said, he pauses and his voice drops. It's like you see me as the safe choice, the compromise, and maybe you don't see it, but that's not exactly a foundation for a happy marriage. I let out a sigh, rolling my eyes. Are we really going to make this a deal breaker? Over a conversation you overheard, he takes a step back, almost like he's steadying himself. Maybe it is a deal breaker, Helen, because it's not just about what you said, it's about the fact that you actually feel that way. I open my mouth to argue, but the words don't come. He's never been this serious, this unyielding, and it hits me that maybe for the first time he's questioning us. He stands there looking at me with those judgmental eyes. Fine, if he wants to approach it this way, I'll play along. If you're this insecure about a little harmless girl talk, maybe that says more about you than me. I bet your friends say way worse things about their girlfriends. Actually, we don't, he replies quietly. We respect our partner's privacy. Oh, please. I can feel my cheeks heating up. Don't act all high and mighty. Guys can be way worse than girls when it comes to locker room talk. At least I was just joking around with my closest friends. It's not like I posted it on social media. You really don't get it? Do you get what? That you're being ridiculously oversensitive? You're turning a silly girls' night conversation into a massive drama. Yeah, I understand it perfectly. Well, he says firmly. I step closer, softening my tone, trying a different approach. Baby, come on. You know I love you. You know I chose you. Why let this get to you? If you were more secure in our relationship, this wouldn't even be an issue. But something feels off tonight. Usually when I adopt this tone, he softens. Typically by now, he'd be apologizing. But instead, he's looking at me as if I were a stranger. You didn't choose me, Helen. You settled for me. Those were your exact words. It was just talk. I exclaim, frustration creeping into my voice. God, why are you acting like this? Everyone vents about their relationships sometimes. You're making it seem like I committed some huge betrayal when all I did was have a normal conversation with my friends. My head starts to throb. This isn't how it was supposed to unfold. He wasn't meant to overhear any of that. And even if he had, he shouldn't be reacting this way. He's supposed to understand, to let it go. You're really blowing this way out of proportion, I say, trying to regain control of the situation. If you just calm down and think about it rationally. But I can see it in his face. I'm losing this battle. Honestly, it's starting to infuriate me. Who does he think he is, making me feel guilty for having a private conversation with my friends? This is completely normal behavior. He's the one being strange about it, right? The living room feels smaller tonight, filled with an unsettling tension I've never experienced before. I stand here trying to make him see that I'm not the problem. Classic move. My eyes land on my engagement ring, resting on the coffee table. I always take it off during girls' night, claiming it snags on my friends' clothes when they hug. Funny how everything suddenly makes sense in hindsight. Everyone talks about their relationships with their friends. I insist, my voice dripping with condescension. It's totally normal. Okay, he replies, keeping his voice steady. So you'd be fine if I shared intimate details about your body with my friends. Should I tell them that your box is so big and loose comparing you to my ex? How? I settled for you. The look on her face is priceless. Her mouth opens and closes, struggling to form a response. That's completely different. How? I challenge. Because it just is. God, why are you making this so difficult? I almost laugh, but I hold it back. You know what's interesting, Helen? You're not sorry you said those things. You're just sorry I overheard them. Of course. I'm sorry you heard. I knew you'd react like this and blow it all out of proportion when it's nothing. Nothing our intimacy, my trust, my dignity. It's all nothing to you? The clarity of that thought settles over me, bringing an unsettling peace. Let me ask you something, I say, moving closer to the coffee table. If it's nothing, why can't you answer my question? Why can't I talk about your body with my friends? Share intimate details? Compare you to other women? That's not the same thing at all. Her voice rises, panic seeping in. When girls talk, it's different. We share things. We support each other by mocking your partners and comparing their bodies. Like they're items at a store, you're twisting everything. She's fully defensive now, her expression hardening. This is exactly why I can't talk to you about certain things. You get so sensitive. No, I cut her off, surprising both of us with my firmness. You can't talk to me about certain things because you don't respect me. Somewhere along the line, you decided I was your safe option, your backup plan, the boring but reliable choice. That's not it, she protests, but I hold up a hand. Here's the thing, Helen. I pick up her engagement ring from the coffee table and drop her apartment key beside it. I don't want to be anyone's backup plan. Her eyes widen as she realizes what's happening, the panic evident in her expression. Russell, you're being ridiculous. You can't throw away our whole relationship over one stupid conversation. You're right, it's not about one conversation. It's about respect, trust, the foundation of what we're supposed to be building together. I turn the ring over in my hand, searching her face. Tell me honestly, if Rick called tomorrow and said he'd changed and wanted to settle down? Her silence is deafening. That's what I thought. Russell, please. Her voice softens, turning, pleading. You're just feeling insecure. We can work through this. I'll call the girls. They'll tell you it was nothing. See, that's the problem right there. I pocket the ring. You still think this is about insecurity? It's not. It's about having enough self-respect to walk away from someone who doesn't value me. So, That's it. Her tone turns bitter. You're just going to throw everything away because your ego got bruised. No, Helen, I'm walking away because you've shown me exactly who you are and what you think of me. I deserve better than being someone's consolation prize. I turn toward the door, her words following me like arrows. You're overreacting. This is crazy. You're throwing away 5 years over nothing. But with each step I take, I feel lighter. The anger fades, replaced by something that feels a lot like freedom. Sometimes the hardest decisions are also the clearest ones. As I close the door behind me, I hear her start to cry. A month ago, that sound would have brought me running back. Tonight, it just confirms I'm making the right choice. Some broken things aren't meant to be fixed. I can't believe this is happening. The door hasn't even closed for 5 seconds before I'm grabbing my phone, my hand shaking as I text Sandra and Victoria in our group chat. Emergency. Russell overheard everything. He's leaving me. Call now. The three-way call connects almost immediately. My mascara is running, but honestly, I'm more angry than sad. He's completely lost it. I tell them, pacing my living room. He came home acting all high and mighty about our conversation, like we committed some kind of crime or something. You guys need to help me fix this. What do you want us to do? Sandra asks. I don't know. Call him. Tell him we're just joking around. That everyone talks like that. My voice cracks. He took the ring. Guys, he actually took it back. Maybe if we all apologize. Victoria starts. I'm not apologizing. I snap, then catch myself. No, I need them on my side. I mean, we didn't do anything wrong. This is totally normal girl talk. He's the one being insecure and unreasonable. But even as I say it, the sick feeling in my stomach grows. The look in his eyes when he left. I've never seen that before. This isn't like our other fights where I could sweet talk him back or make him feel bad for upsetting me. Oh God, I sink onto the couch. Do you know how hard it was to get him to propose in the first place? Do you have any idea how long I worked on him? 6 months of careful hints, 3 months of leaving bridal magazines around, 2 accidental walks past jewelry stores. All that work, gone. All because of one stupid girl's night. Maybe he just needs time to cool off? Sandra suggests. You don't understand, I say, tears streaming down my face now. I'm 33. Do you know how hard it is to find a guy with a good job who actually wants to get married, who isn't living in his mom's basement or carrying tons of debt? Victoria tries to comfort me, but I'm on a roll. In the dating pool at our age, it's all divorced guys with kids or commitment. Phobes who think they're God's gift to women. At least Russell was. I stop, recalling his words. At least he was stable. Han, maybe that's part of the problem, Sandra says gently. If you're mainly with him because he's stable. Oh, don't you start? I snap. You're the one who asked if I'd settled for him. You're the one who brought up Rick. There's an awkward silence on the line. This is a disaster, I mutter, staring at my bare ring finger. I'm going to end up alone, probably die alone in some apartment full of cats. Is this what you want from me, Russell? I shout at the empty room. For me to become some crazy cat lady. My phone. Andy's. A text from Russell. I'll be by tomorrow to get my things. Please have them ready. No, no, NOI. Start typing, deleting, typing again. Should I apologize, blame the wine, make him feel guilty? Tell him he's throwing away 3 years over nothing. Girls, I say into the phone, I need you to hear me out. Tomorrow when Russell comes, I need you both here. We need to make him understand that he's overreacting, that this is just how girls talk. Helen, Victoria, interrupts, maybe we shouldn't dash. Fine. I hang up on them. Some friends. They turned out to be I storm into the bathroom, staring at my reflection. 33. The number taunts me. Sure, Russell wasn't perfect. Sure, maybe I wished he was more exciting sometimes. But he was supposed to be my security, my guarantee that I wouldn't end up alone. Stupid, 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 I mutter, wiping my mascara-streaked cheeks. This isn't how it was supposed to go. He wasn't supposed to find out how I really felt. He was supposed to stay in his comfortable little bubble, grateful that someone like me had chosen him. Chosen, settled for, whatever. God, what am I going to tell my mother? She was already planning the wedding, and my younger sister's getting married in June. I can't be the single one at her wedding. I just can't. I close my eyes, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on me. This isn't how the story was supposed to end. Subscribe so you don't miss new stories on the channel.